UCLA.
UCLA, fight!
We've decided to choose one prime goal for our fund, and that is to develop a mechanism which will intend to maximize the positive impact the fund will have and on society in China, and be of benefit to social, economic, and environmental causes. Let's look at this graph first. Today, many funds go to one NPO on a one-off basis. Often those funds don't go anywhere. They don't have a major impact, or they have maybe a negligible impact, as another team mentioned as well. We instead propose to find a mechanism which will have a impact, a multiple effect on many NPOs at the same time, and the NPOs in turn will create a exponential impact on society in China. Our solution, which I'll go to now, will deal with these issues, and it will lead to a professional NPO sector, a more professional NPO sector, which in turn will lead the NPOs to deal with many of the other issues in China, as mentioned here on this list, and create another multiplying effect. So here's the solution. Firstly, we propose to use half of the fund to create a unique and new EVOC institute. The other half of the fund will be used for grants to be provided to quality NPOs and their managers. So let's look at the institute first. This will be a school, first of its kind in China, and perhaps actually even in the world, as far as I know, which will teach managers of nonprofit organizations specific skills, managerial skills, of course, as I mentioned, but also fundraising skills, risk management, and the ability to decide which investment decision they should make, which project will have a better impact or need the funds the most. The second part or pillar of our solution will be the grants. These will be provided to alums, and not only alums, of course, but actually to their NPOs. And these are selected NPOs and alums. They will be provided after training on a milestone basis. And finally, the criteria for these on a high level are the projects will have to be self-sustainable, and they will have to have a major impact on CSR.
One idea would be let the professors be socially responsible and donate their time. Would be a good idea. But another thing, I was looking at fund replenished. How does that come about? I don't see a connection of. I see cost, but I don't see income. Where does that come?
Yeah, this is entirely relying on outside funding. So I know that EVOC mentioned that they would be willing to fill up the fund again as necessary, and we hope to attract outside funding as well. So there's no income being generated here. It's just to help the NPOs.
Just to add to that, on the outside funding, we do think this is quite a unique concept for China at least. So we think this will generate a lot of media buzz, and therefore will generate a lot of at least interest for participation from outside sponsors. Thanks.
How many of these NPOs do you think you can affect in, let's say, a year? I know these are all estimates, but what's sort of the impact you're going to have on the number of these institutions over time?
So we're thinking of about 10 classrooms, and most of the sessions would be about a week long. So we're thinking about 500 institutions probably each year.
Given that each NPO may have different goals and focus, how do you then measure the effectiveness of the training of the EVOC students after learning? Do you intend to have an auditing company to do this later?
It's a very good question because they have really diverse area to help for these NPOs. So for them, there was a paper published about return on social effect. So you can look at, for example, if you employ one person, so how much effect you have on the social effect. If you release one drug compared to other drugs, you're more effective, then how much money you're saving on the social effect. So using that matrix, you can put on different services into one single matrix to measure them, not auditing firm. Thank you.
I agree knowledge sharing is an important approach. However, fundamental issues of NGO development in China are not limited to the knowledge. So how can you make sure your solution can really bring concrete outcome while other key issues or factors are still missing?
We saw this as leveraging a small amount of money to make a large amount of change. So we're not hoping to ignore the other issues. We're hoping that by educating the people that are working in these NGOs, or the NPOs, that they will be able to solve these problems with their own abilities. And I think that's the most sustainable solution in the long term.
Okay, thank you. That was Team California Inlet from UCLA. Thank you very much.
We think we can win. Yeah, we have a chance. You know, it's really too rushed. Have 2 days. We worked really hard. This is what we got. We'll see how it show up.
We did the best we can, so we'll just wait to see what the judges think.